Hey man, welcome back to Man Time. Today's episode we're going to talk about framing metal to wood specifically and putting, wood studs into a metal framed barn dominium. How I'm going to do that, what I'm going to do, all the tools you're going to need. Welcome to Man Time. Man, hair and makeup is off on vacation again. It's just me, by myself, with some tools, showing you how to do stuff. This is Man Time. All right, so check it out. What we're gonna do is make little 1 inch by 1 inch chunks of steel. And what we're gonna do then is drill a hole in those little chunks of steel. I've got some 1/8 inch thick pieces of plate, but what I would recommend is going to the hardware store, going to Lowe's or Home Depot, getting just 1 inch thick pieces of steel from their steel fabrication section. It's about this big by about this big, but they've got 1 inch thick strips of steel, steel bar, 1/4 inch, or I'm sorry, 1/8 inch thick by 1 inch wide by 3 foot long. Go ahead and marking that every 1 inches, and also doing a center line and every 1/2 inch and then 1 inch, making center punch marks to then drill holes. So that's where we're going to start today. I have just got a big old sheet of 1/8 inch piece of plate, and it was a 4x8 sheet originally, and I've been cutting chunks off of it for this and that. I'm going to go through first, clean the rust off, then go through, make some marks, center punch, find a drill bit then that's going to just allow a standard wood size screw to pass through, or drywall screw. Figure out what that size is. Somewhere around 5/32 I think is going to be just about perfect, but it's got to be enough to let this through. Yeah, 5/32 is maybe just a touch undersize. Here's one here. This one looks probably more appropriate, and wouldn't you know, I can't read it. 3/16, and this is kind of a more common size anyway. So we're going to try drilling some 3/16 holes and seeing a test hole if this is going to fit. Of course, you want to have some Tap Magic and your drill of choice. Let's get started. So the name of the game in this situation is ease of manufacture. I need about 20 of these things. So I'm not doing anything but using kind of the help that the tools are giving me. This is a tool that I made, forged steel to mark metal and then cut some stuff. But what I'm using is these little divots in this speed square, and I'm just setting this in there, running it along here. I started at 1 inch. That looks maybe a little small, so I bumped it up to 1 1/4, and then also the width from here to here is what I'm using to make the marks of the thickness. That way I can very quickly come through, make marks. You may be able to see them kind of shining in the sun there. And then as far as center punching, I'm just eyeballing it. This stuff isn't going to matter, so I'm just finding a spot that's close to center, making a punch, and moving on. Because what's going to happen is, I'll show you. Again, production efficiency, got all my spots marked, got some Tap Magic on there, got my 3/16 drill. Manufacturing efficiency is the name of the game. I've got all my holes drilled. Of course, I've got my marks. I went ahead and did a couple test cuts with the plasma cutter just to make sure my voltage and everything was good. It looks like I'm at 40 amps, 40 volts, whatever the metering denomination is there. Now I just want to get everything set up, and to avoid things like taking measurements and having those measurements be wrong, what you want to do is line up your plasma cutter with where you're cutting at, and I am just offsetting it to where the torch tip is just beyond my mark there. That should be just fine. Again, a 2x4 is not 2 inches, it's 1.5 inches. So I went 1.25 inches here, should be good to go. And I am just going to bring the torch tip down to just outside of the line there, and do the same over here. So that way I can just run it down the line. But before that, what I'm actually going to do, if you torch all the way down this line, it's going to curve and bend. So I'm going to make all of these cuts first, coming from the end in, following that line, and then set this up, and then make one pass and just have these falling off of there as we go. So let's do the first cut on camera here. Safety gear for this is not much other than a wet ground and go to making some cuts here. Okay, now we put this in place, and we line this up at the same time to where it's going to be cutting just right at that line, and speed and efficiency is key. So getting something like these quick connect jaws, you know, rather than like a C-clamp style, is going to be really nice to just quickly clamp and have it clamped. Okay, that should do it. And again, now I've got a steady rest. I can just run down the line here, and we should see pieces falling off as we go. Let's try it out. No fires, and we got a lot of stuff done in a very short amount of time. So, actually I'm just going to let these cool for un moment, and then come back and pick them all up here. Now, some might argue that plasma cutting these was the wrong move, because now you've got all of the slag, you know, that you've got to remove on there, and using a 4.5 inch angle grinder would have maybe been the move. It is extremely easy though. If you've got something with like a sharp edge, just set that slag hanging off the edge of whatever you have that's got a nice good sharp metal edge, and then give it a whack. All of that slag pretty well comes off if you get the angle right. Yeah, just like that. Alright, man, so there you have it. These are going to be my keys to securing stud walls to metal framing inside of the barn dominium. Not too tough to make, a couple hours of time, only because I had to like get the steel out, get it cleaned up, get it all cut up. But if you go to the hardware store, get a 1-inch piece of flat bar that is 1/8 inch thick. You should be able to do this pretty quickly, and using a 4.5 inch angle grinder and a cutoff wheel is going to do just as well as the plasma cutter. You can see they're removing the slag, you know, made it a little bit more tedious. Of course, you've still got a burr from the drill bit and all that stuff on there. But what you can do there is just put that side facing the wood. That's going to meld into the wood, and it's not going to cause an issue. The main reason I'm doing this, I'm going to have these actually recessed into the stud, And for that is going to be the next video, where I'm going to show you a new tool that I got. It is a cordless DeWalt 20-volt router and a router bit set, and I'm going to go through the process of actually attaching these to the wood, putting the walls in place, and then tacking this in place, moving the wall back a little bit from this, welding it, and then putting the wall back, with that screw, and screwing it down into place. And then for the floor, I'm going to be attaching that into the concrete as well. So you're going to have strong attachment, both to the metal frame and to the floor. That wall is not going anywhere. That's going to do it for today on Man Time. Get out there, have you some man time too.